Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Senor Wesley. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Gotcha. I figured it was this one right here. What's good with you today?
Nothing, man. Fantastic. I was dressed like Raiden last night and they wouldn't let me in the bar.
You was dressed like who?
Like Raiden.
Who is that?
Here, let me send a picture to my email and I'm gonna show you.
Let me see something. I might have to I might need to plug my headphones into here because it's coming out through my. You feel me?
Plugging it through where?
Into my computer.
Can you not hear it?
I can hear it.
We're live.
Out my computer.
We are live, so.
I got you. Let me see. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I can hear you too. We good. Yeah, so welcome to Uncommon Courtesy.
Sunday live edition.
Sunday live edition. It's been a crazy week this week in the news.
Yes, it has. It's getting a little crazier.
Who is Raiden? Give me an explanation on who Raiden is.
So Raiden is like a character from Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You talk about you throw a dude with the. Did he have like a black trench coat on or something like that, or?
No, he would wear like a funky hat, and let me see if it's sent. Hold on. Computer's going mad slow.
Some type of weird shit you that you had going on last night or something, or what?
I was having a good old time last night. Good old time.
You know what I mean? It's always a good thing.
Yeah.
You out there enjoy yourself.
That's what you got to do, man. Especially everything's going on. 2024.
When you got people like when you got 1798 laws. What do you say?
1798.
Was it a law? You said it was a law that it made it so that they could put the Japanese in the internment camps.
Yeah, it's the law that they used to put the Japanese in the internment camps. And then hold on, let me show you something. Bow, it's like this.
You showing me Raiden?
Yeah. My fly outfit.
Hey, what they say they wouldn't let you in last night, huh?
Yeah. It was like packed.
I mean, so they probably gave him reason, man. But
there we go.
I'm waiting on it. I don't see it. Where you sitting on the thing? Where's it at?
You see it?
Why? They said you had a hat on or something, or what was it?
It was because it was like too late for me to get in. Hold on.
You think that's fly? That's what you call them flying these days?
You see what I'm wearing?
I like the hat. The hat's not bad. You need to go ahead and go to Asia. I mean, go to with that hat on, you'll get down over there. The hat ain't that bad, but yeah, like we were saying though. He said 1798 law that he's going to use to do for mass deportations. I know I have a little bit of an article on that law that you were talking about.
Well, I thought it's crazy because the Japanese Americans they did that to were American citizens. Like they did it to all the Japanese when they did it to them.
So, I mean, it just says Donald Trump wants to immediately invoke a more than 200-year-old wartime law that grants the president unilateral authority to deploy federal law enforcement for rounding up and deporting immigrants as soon as he enters office. The former president, speaking from Aurora, Colorado on Friday, told supporters that he plans to revive the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which would give the president unprecedented ability to target foreigners for removal without hearing or due process based solely on their place of birth or citizenship. Okay, I mean, so I know that it said something else about you can pretty much hunt down, arrest, deport every last illegal alien gang member until there's not a single one left in this country. He said. I mean, how do you think they're going to use this law overall, just in the basis of like?
Well, I think they're going to use it just like how they used it before. I mean, like when they rounded up all the Japanese, it's a great example. they rounded them all up and put them in, concentration camps.
Internment camps, as they called them. I mean, they were in there for a few years too. I know that this was something that they did, and they had these people in there for a number of years at that time too.
Yeah, that's how Bainbridge became Bainbridge Island here in Washington, because it was a Japanese island, and they rounded them all up, and then they stole their land from them.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because the Suquamish tribe used to have it, and then colonization. Then the
Yeah.
Japanese had it, and then they rounded them up and they took their land. That's how Bainbridge. That's why Bainbridge has money and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I mean, like, think about it. If they're going to use that law, these people were citizens, so they could be like, well, a terrorist came from South America. We got to arrest all the Mexicans, put them in concentration camps. Everybody speaks Spanish. Oh, there's people are threatening Americans from Africa. So I think it's just it's a law they're going to use to just be racist.
I mean, I looked at it like when we posted that thing on that guy who was an Afghan. He was Afghan. He was a citizen, wasn't he? Was it called Afghan national?
He was an Afghan national, but he was living here, and then there was another American with him that was going to do it.
He was a teenager. He was like a teenager though. But look, the thing of it is though, is that when I posted that on the page, a guy came in and said, "Now just imagine all the people who came up through Mexico, through the southern border, right?" And this is what they're kind of trying to utilize as well. Like, look at the people who came up through the southern border. Even though they don't know if anyone's come through the southern border who is a terrorist, this guy was a national. He actually went the right way and got his paperwork, and he still was looking to do, damage to our country. And so I think that at any given moment, they can utilize that, like you said, and say, oh well, this is something that get one of them that comes up through the southern border, and now they can kind of utilize it for all across the board. I think that's what we got to kind of look at as a potential problem more than anything else too.
Yeah, I mean, like, because they can use it on everybody that they don't agree with. I mean, it's an end of days thing for them. That's the plan. How can we get everyone out of here that we don't like, imprison everyone that we don't like, and then keep them there? And so, I mean, they're setting it up. And so for me just to look at the election, how it's 50-50, it just shows that a lot of people, yeah.
This election is 50-50 right now too, man. It's crazy.
That's what's crazy.
I don't think I have the heart. I don't know if she's gonna win this one, man. I just from what I see every day, man, I see so much disinformation or just negative press on Kamala Harris every single day. And I'm like, damn, if I see this much, I wonder what everyone else sees. You know what
I mean, you can still see a bunch of negative press. They have to do whatever they can. I mean, like, there's negative press, and then there's what the other guy's saying out his mouth. So
I had to tell a person the other day, I was like, man, look, half of the time I'm responding to you, I'm responding to lies. So I can't even make my points. I think this is what they try and do. They try and inundate you with lies so that you can't make a real point about what the facts are. You know what I mean? If a person will sit back and they'll lie, they said this guy was like Trump. He's like Trump. He came in and he said that he had a split House and the Senate. Like, he didn't, like Trump, when Trump got in office in 2016, he didn't already have the House and the Senate, which he did, which is a lie. And then he kept on going, and he had the best economy, this, that, and the third, which he left office. He did not have the best economy. And he ran up more debt than any other president in the history of this country in just 4 years. And so when you look at things like that, and you're sitting back consistently having to like defend against negativity and lies. I'm just not even negative, just lies in general.
Yeah.
And you never get to the point to where you're actually being able to, you know what I mean?
Well, the whole thing is just like it's weird. It seems like they just baby him the whole time. It's like you hear him lying. They don't fact check it. They don't care about his age. They don't bring none of the stuff up. It's like, why do you have to hold the other side to a higher standard? And this guy can do the bare minimum. But it's like, I can see why they're doing it, because they're like, yo, in case he wins, I don't want to be on his bad side, because it's going to be a revenge tour. And he's already slipping. He's already like, yeah, I'm locking everybody up.
I'm more looking for people. I'm not even worrying about like politicians. I'm looking at the people who are voting. This is who I talk to every day. You know what I mean? It's people who are actually going to be voting. And you sit back and you hear so many people like pushing for like his rhetoric. Even like when Obama came out and he was like, black men right now are having a hard time voting for Kamala Harris, and he kind of said it's because she's a woman. Then he used misogynistic, kind of like, oh, you like misogynistic music, like kind of like utilizing that as I think he didn't say necessarily music, but he's using that as kind of like a reason why black men don't want to vote for Harris, when it could be other things. It could be policy. It could be a lot of things right now. Like people are going through a lot when it comes to their economic situations right now. And so, when one party's doing such a good job attributing all that to Kamala Harris, like, oh, well, she's already been in office 4 years. I don't know anybody who's been like, well, it kind of goes both ways, because when a vice president runs off of the last administration and they've done well, it works for him. Didn't work for Al Gore, but it normally works for a vice president if they choose to run for president. But if the administrations did shitty, then I mean, at the end of the day, it should fit both ways. You should have to run on it or run, either way.
Well, it's like I haven't heard any of Trump's policies except for deport, arrest, revenge.
He's had some tax policies in there. He has thrown a couple of
excuse me, the tariffs that are going to cost us money.
Then he had the overtime, no tax on overtime. He had that he came out. He said that. Then he had the what was the other one?
Like, what's the
no
law?
Tax on tips as well.
What's the law?
I mean, these are just proposals. These are just policy proposals. Yeah. I just want to be fair, because then he also said that we should have a sovereign wealth fund. I agree. I mean, those are a few things. Those are like the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and also the sovereign wealth fund. I agree with those three things. This is not to say it's going on some Trump apologist tour like I agree with him, but when I agree with you, I agree with those things. But your overarching vision for this country, I don't agree with. I think there's some things you can always take from a person who you don't agree with. Like there's certain things like we can agree that this is good, but the 99% of the rest of your shit is horrible. And that's how
I mean, for me, it's like, bro, it's like I'm not 100% on board with Kamala, but I sure can't just follow a treasonous person. But the fact that it's so close, it's not mind-boggling. It's sad.
Let me say this to you. I'm gonna just say this really quick. I know I've been, but I talked to somebody the other day, right? And what brings most of the things to mind to me is like every time we're on the show together, you always bring up the fact of what happened with January 6th. Yeah. And that being treason. And I never really probably grasped the full the gravity of that situation, because you used to say it over and over again, but I understood where you were coming from until I was just really set back and thought about man, we got a person running for president that tried to overthrow the government. And I tried to explain that to somebody, like, did he really try to overthrow the government? I said, yeah, man, the day that we're supposed to have a peaceful transition of power, he came into office, he came in and basically was like, look, we're going to stop this peaceful transition of power. We're going to try to stop we sent in fake electorates first off to try and stop it. Fake people. We basically sent in people to lie and say that they were the people to do this right here, and they're all going to jail right now. Then on January 6th, you planned basically a rally, really with all your people to come down here, and then you were going to go calling it "Stop the Steal." Which you were going to go down here and stop for the first time in our history.
Which you knew was fake.
Yeah, man. And you planned it. And I'm trying to explain to somebody, and they didn't really understand where I was coming from. They were just looking at me like, is that really trying to overthrow the government? I said, yes, look up the word coup. And they looked it up, and its exact definition of what this is was that, man. I'm like, I don't see how we've gotten this far, man, as a country, to this far down this rabbit hole, man. This is crazy.
I see it because it shows the weakness of the Democratic Party. They don't have the strength to do what needs to be done. All these people should have been thrown in Guantanamo Bay. And the fact that he is this far, I keep saying it all the time. I'm like, this country is over. You know what I'm saying? We're on borrowed time. He shouldn't have been able to even be up there being elected, let alone free. None of these people should be making laws. They tried to overthrow the government, and they tried to take away our freedom.
Somebody said, man, look, they were like, look, Puffy is being accused of all the shit he's doing right now, all the stuff he's being accused. They wouldn't even give him a $50 million bond. This dude got 30.
That's the whole thing. Accused, my guy. Like they even just people are saying, "Oh, this happened to me." They look, and I brought this up on the Nightly Strange. I was like, they're trying to make Puffy seem like he's this Epstein guy, right?
Yeah.
The whole time, right? I'm like, so where was all this energy during the Me Too movement?
Nobody said nothing.
Nothing at all.
That's
my whole speech. I'm like, look, nobody said nothing during the Me Too movement, but all of a sudden now Diddy's this monster with baby oil drugs and all kinds of. I'm like, nah, bro. That's why I'm like, I don't believe it. I mean, show me all the evidence because I'm like, if you could have took him down in the Me Too movement. Russell Simmons heard a whiff of his name and dipped. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so it kind of gives you a little bit more, you know what I mean, more credence.
yeah,
Like, hey,
they took everyone down. I was like, so if you survived the Me Too movement, like then what?
You probably good, more or less.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You did some
yeah.
shit, but you probably good. I'm like, but he got 34 felonies, bro. 34 right now. Like he's been convicted. He's waiting to go to trial. I don't know anybody who's gotten this many felonies and who get to be released on their, you know what I mean, up until their trial date. I don't know anybody.
And they're like, hey,
the trial date
after the election.
And so if he loses, I'll be on the plane giving my concession speech. On the plane out the country giving my concession speech if I'm him, because he's going to prison.
Yeah,
he's going to prison. He knows if he loses, he's going to prison. That's why he's willing to say and do anything. That's why
exactly. That's why he's ready to crash out and take America with him. That's what, and people don't understand that. Look, he was ready to crash out just because he thought he lost, or because he knew he lost and he didn't want to give up power. Now I keep telling people that they don't understand. He's about to go to prison for the rest of his life. He will die in there.
Yeah.
So if I knew I have a choice. Hey, I can either go die in prison, or I can run the country. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do everything in my power and their power. And then if I'm like, no, that he's gonna be like, the election was a sham. That's what they said. They want to throw me in prison. He's like, you need to fight back. Go to your local house. You know what I'm saying? He's been sowing chaos now
from an airplane, because now he's not in office to be able to say I'm gonna stay in power. He can't do that anymore now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He can't pull that string.
Yeah, you can't pull because you're not in power to do nothing.
Who's to say how many House and Senate members may swing a certain different way or do something different. I mean, they may not need them as much, because I think you only need the vice president to certify the election, but you do need each state to stand up and say that they're certifying the election. If this becomes a thing where now every single time that we have a presidential election that we have to wait 10 and 12 days so after the election to even get a real count, it just becomes a joke at that point in time.
Well, I mean, he's basically single-handedly destroyed democracy in America. But I mean, the Democrats did it also too, because they went with the whole hoax, the Russian hoax, because Democrats got duped. That's what it is. They got duped.
Do you think that you think that was 100% of a hoax? You feel like it was?
So what I saw happen is that the Russians were paying. They setting up fake rallies and stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all across, and like they were making like accounts, and like they were being the most vocal online. And so Democrats were believing it. And then when it came out that like, they were just pumping misinformation, everyone's like, they felt stupid. You know what I'm saying? And then
the dossier they paid for, all the information that they paid for, they let them down a rabbit hole pretty much just on purpose, knowing that they it's like 3-card Monte,
and we clinged on to it. We were like, oh, this could happen where she could still win, and this and this and that, it was like for a good 2 years.
But the day that she lost, I was like, because I saw the states dropping like flies. I'm like, man, she needs to go ahead and just concede. I put that on my page. I put that on my Facebook page. I wrote that. I was like, man, she needs to go ahead and concede, because she was getting killed across the board. Every state was just dropping like Trump.
I was like, Trump.
I couldn't believe it. A couple of girls that I knew told me, I was like, man, there's no way this guy's winning. They looked at me like, man, this is before the election happened. They're like, man, pretty much they knew everyone that they talked to was voting for Trump. And if they knew, if you're in a state where it's like the kind of state that we live in, which is a blue state, if they see their people doing that, they know he's not going to win this state. But imagine what's going on in other states where it's more of a toss.
Man, they made Hillary Clinton look so bad for so many years, and then when they got to the end of the election, when they got close to the election, well, think about it. James Comey came out and was like, "Oh, we're investigating." Remember, the worst thing was her emails, her deleted emails. Remember when life was so simple, where her deleting emails was a fucking crime.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
But you look at them like, honestly, they probably was in some instances, like, that wasn't probably as big as a crime as trying to overthrow the government. But at some instances, what are you deleting? What kind of information do you not want us to see right now? You get what I'm saying? Like that's kind of where I think they were going with that. But I just feel like, we're at a point right now. We have a person who has shown us that, even he has to explain why he's on the campaign trail. Like, after my presidency, like, almost have to make it like, I'll leave. He almost has to say it out of his mouth. Like, who's ever had to say that? I've never had to hear a president tell us that they're going to leave after their term in office is over. That was never even a thing. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you know what it is. Like, it's gonna be violence. I'm just gonna say that. Like, there's no one's gonna win at the end of this election. So right now, it's like I'm just trying to enjoy my life and enjoy the people around me before this happens. Because like
You think
there's
there's
gonna
going to
be.
be violence after this election?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I can guarantee
Really?
it. I can guarantee it. Man, everybody I talk to, because I talk to random people all the time, and like a lot of women are nervous, really nervous. They're like having anxiety about this election
That's
because
true.
you know what I'm saying. Their rights are on the line right now. They already saw in other
They already
states.
lost their rights. They already lost their rights. It's a wrap.
Exactly, and it can get worse. If you ever watch The Handmaid's Tale, we're not that
Hmm.
far off from that either. You know what I'm saying? Like in the Handmaid's Tale, bro, Gilead, this organization took over America, Civil War, whatever. Right? They took
Hmm.
every able-bodied woman that could birth children, and like they put them in there and they're handmaids, right? And they work in the homes, and then once a month they basically get raped by the homeowner. The wife holds them from the back or whatever, and they get raped by the homeowner to try to give birth because the birth rate is down. And yeah, it's a crazy show if you have time to watch it. But you watch that shit, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're not that far off.
We're really not that far off. People don't really understand. That's why a lot of wars are happening right now, are because of birth rates around the globe, fertility rates, whatever you want to call them, but around the globe. So we're really not that far off, and they're damn near trying to force women to have kids. If you can't even like they're like they want to they're so angry that they'll be like abortion is a crime for you to say I don't want to have what's in my body. I want to get rid of it and do something else. They're so angry about that because they see that birth rates are down. That's what that's really about. It's bigger than just, what I mean, I won't say for everybody, because for some it probably really is about, oh well, I don't believe in abortion. I don't believe in this and that and the third. But what you don't believe in has nothing to do with anyone else. Nobody cares. You know what I mean? What you believe in. Your personal opinion should not dictate another person's life. If you don't believe in it, then don't do it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That
don't
goes
look
for a
at
lot
it.
of things. That goes for a lot of things in life. What I don't like, I don't pay attention to it. You know what I mean? And so,
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like people pay attention. Like, there's a lot of like, how do you say this? Politicians that are online, right?
mhm.
And it's a lot of people just arguing and disagreeing with them. And I always say that shit. I'm like, you guys are keeping these like Republican people alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the people that didn't like them didn't comment on their shit, they wouldn't have a fucking audience.
And for some reason, they win office and they look, man. There's more Republicans in the House of Representatives than there are Democrats right now.
Yeah.
They have the House representatives. I think there's 50 or 51 to 49 in the Senate right now, with 23 Democratic House seats up for grabs this year, and like 11. And these were like a lot of them are in contested, like 9 or 13 of them are like in contested states, and like 11 Republican seats up for grabs this coming cycle, and all of them are in Republican strongholds. You get what I'm saying? So this can be a very, very bad election if we allow it to be. If we don't get out and vote, like even like I was kind of mad at Obama when how he came out and spoke to people like it's mostly the brothers, like they send him out here to be the voice of reason for a black man, pretty
And
much.
nobody want to hear what you got to say.
And I don't really look at him like that. You're not the voice of reason for black men. You know what I mean? Honestly, you didn't start really hanging around black people or knowing black people until you got 18, 20 years old or better. You know what I mean? What black people were you really around? You grew up in Hawaii and then Indonesia, and your mom was the white side of your family. Your dad was the black side of your family. He really wasn't in your life like that. So and then for you to kind of like turn to it where you're admonishing black men for how they feel versus talking to them about. I get it, because he's like, well, how are you going to vote for somebody who talks down to you, somebody who speaks ill of you, which is true. You know what I mean? How do you look at Trump and then say Trump 2020 and 2024?
Exactly.
Sorry,
That's,
I
that's
don't
so
understand
weird
that
how
shit
people,
either.
how black
It's
folks do that.
crazy
Like
to me.
he talks mad shit about us, and they'd be like, "Yeah, I'm voting for Trump." Da, da, da. He gave us money. We was pandemic. They call it was the pandemic. Da, da, da. I was like, y'all was stealing money, but you know what I'm saying? He's gonna get votes, but it's just the whole thing online is like we're not paying attention to the person that's posting, "Hey, in my garden doing my flowers. hey, get my car washed. They're posting that we're listening to the person that was like, fuck that bitch. I was at the club. I spit on that dude's face and then I slapped him, hit him with a bottle. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want to see the wild stuff. We want to, people are online. We're online to argue. We're online to see the hot mess. We're online to see negative stuff. That's what I'm online for. I love other people's drama because it's not mine.
Hey man, but at the end of the day, though, I mean that's kind of what they're giving everybody a voice. So even people who really shouldn't have a voice in certain conversations, but I think people like to hear what they relate to. People can relate to Trump because he just speaks in babble. He speaks. I mean, whenever I get into a conversation with a person who disagrees with me about Donald Trump, first thing they do is start calling names. You're an idiot. You're this, that, and third. Like, this is the craziest shit ever. You know what I mean? They just say any goddamn thing, really. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
Understanding that
they can't really like talk about his like his achievements or anything. Think about it.
at all.
At the end of his term, the country was in the ground, bro. Nobody was working. The majority of us weren't working. Nothing
You
was moving.
you
The
heard what
COVID
Obama
response was
said.
poor.
You heard Obama was like, "That's my," just like you always say all the time. That was my. You're talking about my economy because I gave you that economy. This is what happened. You know what I mean? It was my economy that you're taking credit for. Because like you, I mean, like the first year of his presidency is another year of another is the last year
Yeah,
of the last presidency's budget. And so really you had about a year and a half that was his presidency before COVID hit. You get what I'm saying? Like about a year and a half, then COVID hit, and that's who you really were. They just showed you exactly your leadership skills and what you're able to do under fire. And that's what we should be judging you on. That's what a president should always be judged
exactly.
on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't stop COVID, but we could have had better leadership at the time. Because at
Managed
first,
it
I
a lot
mean,
better.
there's and the people can't. It's crazy how people are deny this and this. I'm like, yo, it's all on camera. It's all he was like, hey, that it's a hoax by the Democrats to make
He
me
said
look bad.
bleach. He said put bleach in the body. Then he said hit it with UV ray, the whole body with the UV ray. Remember he said that? He said
Oh yeah, yeah. And there's people that were actually injecting bleach into their skin trying to get rid of it.
it's crazy, man. I don't like I say, man. I don't understand how people really take him seriously. And then he's in Detroit telling people in Detroit, you know, if she becomes president, then the country will end up like Detroit. And
And it
actually,
looked like
Detroit is
and they're
yeah.
in Detroit. And then she was watching the video. She's like, "Come on, he only talks down about American cities." You know what I'm
And he
saying?
only
Like,
talks down about city black people that are majority American cities. But I know I normally people call us minorities, but I know that we are truly the majority. So you only talk about down about cities of color. He's down in Georgia. He's talking about Atlanta. He doesn't say nothing about none of the other places in Georgia. There's a few other black strongholds there as well. But he wants to talk about the city that he feels like he can point a finger at, and everyone will be happy with him saying his base will be cool with him talking about. But it's always cities that look like us. So that's why I don't understand. I think that Barack, what
hey,
he's saying, hold a
there's
little
a
bit
whole
of
bunch of
merit.
people that never wanted to go with Harriet Tubman and leave, and there's a whole bunch of people that were like, "Hey, I want to eat at your diner, even though if you spit in my food in the back, I still want to eat it." So
Ah, see, that's my
you're gonna
thing,
have
man.
that.
You're not pouring shit on my head. You're not. I mean, we come from a different time frame too. I think a lot of that what they did was to help us get to the point where we could say shit like this. We could be like, I'm not doing this, or I got. Which it was a choice. They gave us a choice. A lot of people disagree with the whole, inclusivity of the segregation movement. They're like, we should have stayed segregated. I don't believe that. I think that. Look at the rest of the world. The rest of the world is not segregated. That's why countries are growing at such a strong pace right now because they're not segregated. People are very much, including everyone in trade, everyone. So I believe that. But me personally, man. So what do you think about Hurricane Milton? Do you think was it
You know, it's
overhyped,
weird.
or do you think
I
that?
saw. Yeah, I don't think it was overhyped. It was watched because after the last one, after Helen did whatever it did, you know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
like, oh man, it's gonna destroy Florida, but Florida's just like, yeah, another day. Um,
So I mean, they said I know that the last count was like around 12 people that actually died in
yeah.
Milton. You know what I mean? I think they said it's going to have over like 60 billion or something like that in damages. You know what I mean, from Milton. I mean, to me, I feel like they had to kind of like overreact the way they did. If you
You
didn't,
did because if you react and it gets bad, they're gonna start pointing fingers.
then you got Asheville, something like you got over there in Asheville, North Carolina, where they got, they have hundreds of people dead. And I mean, they got Tennessee, where they got 2,100 feet above sea level. People, whole entire towns flooded out, people dead, people stranded. They couldn't go for that in Florida because Florida's, especially those coastal cities like that.
Yeah.
They couldn't take that. They couldn't take that chance. But I think people are going to be less likely to want to leave next time it comes around. If they spend all this money trying to leave, and boarding up their houses, doing what they had to do, and now that it didn't really do what everyone was saying was going to do. They left millions without power, but that's to be expected when you have high winds like that. We get
there's places that got hit. I'm looking at the footage. I guess since the death toll wasn't so high, but I mean, it did damage like a hurricane would do.
Absolutely. It did a lot of flooding too. Don't get me wrong. It would have been more, it probably would have been a higher death toll had people stayed, but they said they had millions of people fleeing. Like I said, I knew truckers who were leaving. They said it was taking like 10 hours to go 100 miles. That's how bad the traffic was. When you got millions of people leaving, you got people on the phone crying like, I can't leave. I don't have the money to leave, which is sad. When you get to that point where you don't have, $1,000, not saying everyone has $1,000, but just to be able to, for an emergency, because this is an emergency. This is the kind of stuff that they should be making sure they have money in FEMA for, like, okay, if we need, and then a plan or a strategy is saying, you know what, we have camps set up for people where people can go to and have a place to stay, where they don't have to go and pay for a hotel and pay for this and pay for that. This is the kind of things that Americans, we pay our taxes for, in my opinion. And I don't feel like we're getting that kind of, we're getting what we're putting into this government at all. And if you were to look at what's coming up with Project 2025, I know no one believes that, but it's already kind of happening. We look at stuff like that. They're already looking at getting rid of FEMA, already looking at getting rid of the NOAA, which is like what it looks like, which is like our weather prediction kind of a agency, which looks at weather and tells you what's coming and what could possibly happen. So I think that we're not taking a lot of things seriously, which are on the ballot for this coming election right now.
Well, I mean, and also, Florida, it's a natural disaster area now. It's Florida. They're saying parts of California. So it's like it's going to be weird to see how the insurance does with this.
And I told you, my insurance. I got a place over in Ohio. In Ohio, man, my insurance went up 50%, based off of what goes on in other places. It has nothing to do with me. I've never put a claim in, never had any of those type of situations happen. But now you got Milton, which was probably who knows how much money. I think that was 60 billion. Now you got Helen, which was probably over $100 billion. Who knows?
Well, actually, your insurance, that's not why your insurance goes up. Your insurance is going up because of inflation. Because the cost of everything has gone up. Your insurance has to go up so they can actually pay out those claims. It's not because everyone's insurance has gone up. Even if you had no claims or nothing, any of that stuff, no accidents, your insurance just went up because the cost of building materials, the cost of car parts, the cost of labor has gone up. So the insurance companies have to raise their rates just to be able to pay out the claims. But now they're like, a lot of insurance companies are dropping people. Like if you have like a car accident, I know State Farm, if you have a car accident within 3 years and you're at fault, they'll drop you your first 3 years. There's another one. I think it's not Haggerty. It's another one, man. It's like once you make one claim, they drop you. Like it don't matter.
So if you go in here and be like, hey, the reason why I got you in the first place, I'm saying the reason why I came to you and needed insurance in the first place is now I need you. So now you're going to drop me.
Yeah. I spoke to one lady. She was with this. I can't remember.
Piece, man.
I think it's Haggerty or something like that. She was with him for 20 years. They made a claim on their house. A tree fell in the house. She's like, I've been paying him for 20 years. She made the claim. They dropped her right after that.
They paid out the claim. We ain't messing with you no more.
Yeah, but that's
now you're
propped up, dude. Like, think about it.
It should be illegal.
It should be. You're paying them. You've been paying them for years, and when you finally need it, they're like, okay, cool, we're just gonna get rid of you. But a lot of companies are doing that. They're not taking a risk on anybody. Like, if you got multiple tickets, multiple accidents, they're like, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not.
That's why I'm gonna be real. That's why I feel like the federal government should end up taking over the insurance companies. I feel like that. Why? I feel like that, man. Why should we have these insurance companies who are beating our people? They're getting beat, bro. For years an insurance company wouldn't insure you for pre-existing conditions. They're beating you. Oh, you didn't tell us that you had freckles or you had pimples or this happened to you. We're not giving you this. Your new liver. We're not messing with you on it. Come on, bro. Insurance companies are a racket. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against insurance companies. I'm not railing against insurance companies. I'm just saying, like, they need to be highly regulated, because if they can just say this person who had a 20-year run with this company, 20 years, I don't know how much they're paying each month. They're probably paying, whatever, a couple $100, whatever, each month to this insurance company for 20 years. And now they get one claim because a tree dropped on my house. Now I'm like, all right, cool, I'm pay you, but you're out of here. Go find somebody else to insure you now.
Yeah,
You
then
know what I
it
mean?
should be sued. It's a horrible. I mean, I just hear these horror stories. I'm like, this is horrible.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's the way it is though, man. People it happens all the time. It's not something that's like new. This has been going on for a long time. We had to fight against insurance companies to get medicine rates, to affordable levels because they're getting kickbacks for it. You know what I mean? Like this has become these are all rackets. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against, like I said, I'm not against insurance companies. It's like I'm not against the pharmaceutical companies, 110%. But that's it's a racket in this country. Period. You know what I mean? And we're not getting the good end of the stick on this one right here.
yeah,
When
no,
when
not
it
at all. It's like insurance is. It's not. People are like, oh, insurance is a scam. I'm like, no, your policy is a scam. Because
exactly
yeah, you know what I'm saying.
who the insurer is does matter. You know what I mean? Like who because
Yeah,
they'll definitely try to beat you. I've had insurance policies where they try to like take off certain things, they want to charge me the same amount. I'm like, bro, you know what I mean? I'm not paying, you're not going to try to beat me like that. Like I need fire insurance. You know what I mean? I need that, bro. That's kind of one of the big reasons why I'm messing with you. I probably need flood insurance. My
yeah,
house, the
that'd be
house
the
is near a
worst.
lake.
Think about it, like you live in Florida, you make an insurance claim and you ain't got that specialty piece on there. Like, but like people in Florida, their home insurance is like
It's
ten thousand
crazy,
dollars
bro.
a
It's
fucking a year.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, I have people who I work with through the logistics business that live in Florida that operate out of Florida, man, that have their equipment there. Their insurance is crazy down there. Sometimes they won't even insure them at all. Like, hey, you know what? We don't even work with Florida at
yeah,
all. You're in
yeah.
Florida, oh yeah, we don't work with you. Dang, like you can exclude an entire state. You can pretty much tell
All right, they do
people
that for California. My cousin was telling me in California for like certain months they don't insure anybody down there either.
for
These
fire,
places are
probably
these
earthquake.
people, these places are like Florida is a natural disaster area now. It's going to be gone. I mean, like we can sit here and act like, oh, hey, it's just hurricane season. No, the hurricanes are getting stronger
Yeah,
and they're just going to keep ripping through that state. And so the insurance companies are like, look, you need to move, motherfucker. We're not going to insure you. We're not going to do
yeah,
none of that. Either you
yeah.
move or you just, you deal with, think about it. If you're paying 10 grand a year and your house gets blown up every year by a fucking hurricane, the insurance company is paying $500,000,
Yeah,
600,000 to rebuild your
they
home.
can't they can't afford to insure them. That's why this is why I said this is not for you to agree with or not. This is why I said the government should take over a lot of this because there's a way that they can take it over and not because the insurance company can't take on that $60 billion, bro. I mean, say one insurance company got 5 billion of that or 3 billion of that. That's probably all most of their profits because insurance companies also a racket. But I'm gonna tell you why because major insurance companies, not the brokerage, not the brokerages of those insurance companies, but major insurance companies are like banks, man. They take your money in and they can go get loans on your money like banks can. The same exact thing. Why do you think that Warren Buffett, when he went and bought Geico, that was one of the big reasons why they own Geico because they use it like a bank, man. All that insurance companies are like banks, man. How much money they get all the time, all that free flowing capital. We think they're doing just sitting on it. That's why they get mad at you when you want to claim them. They got to give you your money back. Like,
Yeah,
man, what?
yeah,
This is crazy, bro. Like, oh, man, go, let me get that $20,000 back over here and pay this mother and get them out of my hair. That's why they're mad because they use your money like banks, bro. I'm trying to tell you, that's what that is. People will tell you to buy insurance companies because it's like a bank. Imagine you have 1,000 people paying you $100 a month. That's low ball. I'm just saying low. Most of these banks have hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people paying them X amount of dollars every month. That's free flowing capital. How many claims are you really getting that you're really paying out? Because most of the time they got to have an investigator go down, investigate what's going on, tell you what they're going to pay you. They only we don't cover this, 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 but we will cover your drainage spout right here. We'll cover that for $200. You know what I mean? You already paid them $10,000. Where do you think the rest of that money's going? You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
But yeah, man. So, but anyway, what else you got going on for today? Which rest of your day looking like?
I gotta do the nightly strange, and then I gotta go make some rounds, go help my aunt out, and not a whole lot, man. I'm about to lounge out. I had a crazy night last night.
You look like it, man. You sound like it, and you look like it right now. I would
That's what I
ask you
wanted.
about it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? I would ask you about it a little bit. But you doing all right though?
Yeah, there ain't
You
nothing I can talk about on the live stream.
good?
But I got my house
Hey,
set up like a bar, or like a nightclub, and
was
so
it cracking? Did you have it cracking over there last night though? Was it popping?
no. For me, it was like
I got you. I got you. Hey, when I go down to I'm supposed to be going down to we'll see. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to be going down to Brazil. We're gonna do our of course we're gonna do our uncommon courtesy from down there. We'll definitely get some good sights and sounds from down there. But let's get back to them. Let's go ahead. I want you to enjoy the rest of your day. Get you some rest, man. Drink some water. You know what I mean? Sounds like you might need to hydrate. Get you some.
I
Get
just
you
wanted
some.
I just wanted to go karaoke dressed like a Raiden in my white sweatsuit, but
I'm gonna keep it real. The hat wasn't so bad. I didn't know who the hell Raiden was. I'm like, okay, now, but the hat wasn't so
the
bad.
hat
You know
would
what
have
I mean?
played. The hat would have
Yeah.
played if they would have let
What
me
time
in.
did you go? What time did you go?
I got there like 12:40, and they locked it. It was packed, so they locked the door, and so you
Mm.
can leave, but
But
nobody
you
new
can't
can
come
come
in.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got it. It makes sense, man, because you're pretty much cutting off the bar in like a few minutes after that anyway. So it makes
yeah, and
sense.
then it's like they know down there they got to get people out. They start kicking people out of there like I think 1 o'clock,
Where, where,
12:10,
where did
or
you
no
go?
1:10. I went down to McLeod's.
Sorry about that. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I mean, I
Yeah,
can see, man. If it's packed in there, I'm not letting nobody else in either because all you're letting in is a problem, potentially.
yeah,
Most
yeah,
people who come
exactly.
after a certain time, they're not coming for the right reasons. I'm not talking about you, but they're not coming for the right
Yeah, no,
reasons.
you're
That's
not.
how I'm
It's
not letting
you
them in.
trying to pop in a bar at 12:50. You're coming. You're like, oh, let's pop in here. I ain't got to buy
You
no drinks.
already twisted. Yeah, you already
Yeah,
twisted from wherever. You already spent your money somewhere else. You're coming here for trouble. That's how I would look at you.
yeah.
You know what I
I mean,
mean?
I'll go to some bars. I'll see a certain kind of crowd walk in there. I'm like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm too old, bro. I ain't dealing with no. I ain't dealing with knuckleheads no more, especially young ones or actually older ones too. I don't want to see none of them.
I'm not.
Like,
Listen, that's why you don't see me out locally doing stuff. I'm gonna wait till I'm somewhere else where it's cool. I mean, the vibe is different, and I might
yeah,
go out there to go check it out because I'm not. You know what I mean? But other than that, I don't want to hear drama. I don't want to talk. I don't
well,
want to
for me,
have
it's like
conversations with drunk people. I don't
I go
feel
to
like it.
little tiny bars, like little hole in the walls. That's my thing. I was going to McLeod's to go hand out flyers, and then I'm like, uh, I'm good. Like,
I
I was like,
mean, because you're at a point, man, where it's not even put them on the cars, man. Get out of there. Put them on the cars and go home. Feel
yeah,
me? Put them on the
yeah,
cars
because
and go home.
I've
Why even?
already been advertising. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I've
you've done what
spoken.
you're
I mean,
supposed to people.
yeah,
Yeah. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Let somebody, that they can pay somebody to do that. You don't have to, but if that's what you want to do, more
Yeah, I got to
power
get
to you. You
out
know what
there.
I mean?
That's what you're supposed to do. If I'm the
Absolutely.
artist or the comedian, you need to be out there showing your face, making people laugh. Like I was coming out of Safeway last night, and I saw some other black dude, and I was like, "Oh, I ain't got no money," and he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just fucking with you, bro. I got a comedy show. Come down." He's like, "Bet I'll be there." You know what I'm saying?
I don't got no money. This is crazy, brother. You are
That's how I
crazy.
greet black people now. That's the
That's
only way. I don't
crazy.
no head nod or nothing. They get close, I'm like, "Ah, I ain't got no money."
Jesus Christ, man. I'm not sure how they take that. You know what I
They
mean?
everyone, I guess the same reaction. They all laugh. Every last one of them laugh. They be like, "Ah, come on." I'm like,
Hey man, well, I'm looking forward to, you know what I mean? Like if I'm not at the comedy show, I'm definitely looking forward to it. But let's wrap it up.
all right,
Go
man.
ahead
We're
and
gonna see you guys on Common Courtesy. We'll see you guys again next week and follow our streams or our show and everything else. All right, y'all.
peace.
Peace.